you don't. I know you don't. I know. I know.
I said a while ago when T.I.'s son King was getting a lot of flack and a lot of heat in the media, that to me he just looked like a young kid that wanted to prove to his father that he was a man too.
Think I ain't spoke to my son. Think I ain't told my son, his mama, and his grandmamas, he's going to prison.
King Harris's world just crumbled even harder. Tiny just slapped T.I. with divorce papers, and the timing couldn't be more explosive. Word is, she had finally reached her breaking point after T.I. coldly turned his back on their son following that latest arrest. The whole situation lit a firestorm that nobody in Atlanta saw coming. Now the family drama is spiraling out of control. T.I. ain't even fighting the divorce, not even pretending to fix things. And that silence, it screams louder than words. The house is split in two, accusations flying everywhere, and what was once hip-hop's power couple is now looking like strangers at war.
Better. He said he know not true. Silver spoon, I ain't never ate with that day a day in my life.
Nigga, you did have a silver spoon.
Look, Tip used to have to come to my grandma's house because I'm getting in the
You
fight.
cried like a baby to go to your grandmama's house.
Every day.
You used to hold your breath.
Every day.
I know you. You capping. I know you. I know you. I know you.
Shut up. Shut up.
I know you.
Ain't no mystery about here.
I know you though. I know you though.
Shut up.
I know you though. I know you. What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all doing that to me? Y'all know me. You know I stand on business.
Fans and insiders are asking the same burning question: who's really to blame? The parents who spoiled King with every comfort imaginable, or King himself for tossing it away to chase a lifestyle he didn't need? For fans, the split feels like a bombshell. T.I. and Tiny had weathered everything from scandals to messy breakups and shocking makeups for years. But insiders whisper the cracks had been growing all along, and the breaking point came in October 2024 when King's reckless arrest dragged the whole Harris name through the dirt. That night, King was spotted pulling out of a gas station in his flashy BMW, moving wild on the road until he nearly slammed into a police cruiser. A disaster waiting to happen. When officers stopped him, the smell of weed hit instantly, and then came the kicker: a gun tucked right in his waistband. If that wasn't bad enough, the system exposed a deeper mess: an outstanding warrant dating all the way back to 2022. Charges for speeding, driving with a suspended license, and even a DUI were still hanging over his head.
All right, I need you to step out the vehicle.
What you want to do? You want to take my dad home?
Yes, sir.
There's one in the head.
Does your buddy have one as well?
It's guns in here.
All right, just hang tight right here for me. Let me clear this. I don't want any accidental fires.
There's no safety. You got to take it.
There's no safety.
Take it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to mess around with that too much. Let me just set this down right here. Dude, step out for me. Yes, sir. Place your hands behind your back for me. All right now you're just being detained. You're not under arrest. We're going to be at the church. All right, I appreciate you being cool, man. We're just going to take a look at this information, make sure it's valid. Just take a step to the...
What should have been just another bad night out turned into a full-blown scandal. One reckless moment cracked open years of hidden skeletons, and the fallout is still tearing through the Harris empire today. King could have walked away clean if he had kept his cool, but instead, every wrong move pulled him deeper into the storm. The ghost from King's past came crashing back like a tidal wave, and once that arrest footage leaked online, the internet pounced with zero mercy. You could see it written all over his face, that flash of regret, that moment he realized he had crossed the line he couldn't step back from. The 30-minute video told the whole story. This wasn't the loud, reckless King fans had gotten used to. No wild rants, no cocky performance.
Talking to me, this ain't your restaurant. This ain't your restaurant. Everything you make, I can pull out my pocket right now. I ain't tripping on you. I ain't tripping. Get the hell out of my face. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. Who the hell is he? What's your name? My name King. You know it and your mama know it. Tell your mama Happy Mother's Day. Tell your mama Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. That file show. Come back. What? On game what? Come here. I'll show you what I do. Come here.
Just a kid who suddenly looked like he understood the weight of his mistakes. There was this flicker in his eyes, almost like defeat, as if he knew the only move left was to stay calm and cooperate. For someone with a rep for chaos, it was shocking to see him quiet, still, and almost humble. Even the cops seemed taken aback by how cool he stayed during the process. But calm or not, that didn't save him. King was cuffed and booked at DeKalb County Jail before being transferred to Pickens County once that dusty old warrant caught up to him. And when the footage hit the internet, it was carnage. One viewer labeled him a trust fund prison punk, and the comment blew up instantly with thousands of likes. Another snapped back, accusing him of acting like money could buy him out of anything, while pretending he came from the struggle. The dragging didn't stop. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. People tore into him from every angle. But the real twist, King wasn't the only one paying the price. His spiral detonated like a bomb inside his parents' marriage. T.I. tried to wear the mask of the heartbroken father in public, but behind closed doors, Tiny was furious. And she came ready for war. In those divorce papers, she didn't hold back one bit. She flat out blamed King's meltdown as the final straw that shattered their family for good. And what did T.I. do? Nothing. No begging, no pushback, no PR cleanup. He just stood on his stance that his hands were clean. To him, he'd done all he could as a father. And if King wanted to crash out, then King had to own the wreckage himself. Brutal, yes, but not out of nowhere. Back in 2022, when King first started making headlines for wild behavior, T.I. had already gone online pleading with his son to chill before things spiraled out of control. T.I. warned King straight up, "You're headed down a dangerous road, and if you don't slow down, jail's gonna be your reality." He even admitted he'd been pressing Tiny and King's grandmother too, telling them somebody needed to keep a closer watch before it was too late. And these weren't just empty words. T.I. had lived that life himself. He'd seen the inside of a cell and knew the price that came with it. He didn't want to see his own son repeat the same cycle. But Tiny flipped that script right back on him in the divorce, blasting him for failing at his father role altogether. According to her, if T.I. had stepped up, been consistent, and laid down real discipline, King never would have drifted so far off track. Instead of protecting him, she argued he basically let their son slip through the cracks. And here's the kicker. She wasn't pulling this out of thin air. T.I. was in and out of prison from the moment Tiny found out she was pregnant, and by the time he finally came home for good, King had already grown up without a strong father figure. Even when he was around, his presence barely made a dent. Allegedly, he pushed King off to his grandmother's house, like passing the responsibility instead of carrying it himself. King later admitted it outright. Even though his parents had money, he didn't feel it because it was his grandma who raised him. He revealed the only times he actually stayed at his parents' home were when the cameras were rolling for their reality TV show. Imagine that, only being welcome under their roof when it was time to film for the world. With a childhood like that, it's no surprise King started chasing attention and distractions anywhere he could find them, crashing straight into trouble at every turn. One infamous moment that put his spiral on blast came during that wild Waffle House meltdown in 2022. Trying to spin the situation, he claimed things weren't what they seemed, saying, "That's not true," but the clip told a different story, and it was clear the cracks were already deep. It all started over something ridiculous. A worker messed up King's order and tossed pickles on his food when he didn't ask for them. That tiny mistake was enough to set him off. King snapped, shouting at the employee and pulling out his phone to record the whole meltdown before blasting it online. But instead of looking tough, he just came across like a spoiled kid with no self-control. Nobody was questioning the worker. They were questioning T.I. for letting his son wild out like that. So when T.I. later dropped that video publicly warning King about crashing out, Tiny lost it. In her eyes, all that fatherly wisdom should have come years earlier, not after the damage was already done. For a minute, things seemed to cool off, but T.I.'s disappointment in King couldn't stay hidden, and soon enough, it all boiled over in front of the world during an Atlanta Falcons game, where father and son's tension exploded into a physical fight in the stands. The argument started when King loudly claimed he didn't grow up with privilege. That hit a nerve. T.I. snapped back instantly, checking his son in front of everybody, reminding him he was literally born with a silver spoon in his mouth. But King wasn't backing down. He squared up, fists flying at his own father right there in the middle of the crowd. Within seconds, the clip went viral and it was messy. T.I. looked like he was ready to forget bloodlines and drop him like he was any other grown man testing him. The internet went wild, thousands of comments and likes flooding in. Shockingly, a lot of people actually sided with T.I., saying it was about time someone disciplined King. Comments poured in. He should have busted him up years ago. Others took a softer route, writing things like, "King's out of control, pray for that family." But while social media was cheering T.I. on, Tiny was fuming. She couldn't stand seeing her son humiliated in front of the whole world, no matter how bad he'd been acting. To her, that wasn't discipline. It was betrayal, and she wasn't about to let it slide. Tiny's anger only grew once she got home. That's when she found out T.I. had kicked King out completely, leaving him to survive on his own. To Tiny, that was crossing the line. She felt T.I. had gone way too far, and the fallout from that moment carved an even deeper crack into their marriage. The very crack that finally pushed her to cut him off for good. Then came another bomb hidden inside those divorce papers. Tiny accused T.I. of constant cheating and a violent past. For years, she'd stood by while he stepped out on their marriage, always listening to him spin the same tired promise about changing. But the lies piled higher and higher until there was nothing left to believe. And by the time King spiraled into his own chaos, Tiny's fury wasn't just aimed at her son, it turned back on T.I. She realized he was the blueprint for everything King had become. That was the breaking point. It hit her that King wasn't carving out his own reckless path at all. He was copying his father's exact playbook. The same jail stints that once built T.Y.'s tough guy image were now the very stints King was chasing for himself. So when T.I. disowned King after that messy arrest, Tiny snapped. To her, he wasn't just turning his back on their son, he was rejecting his own reflection. That's why those divorce papers landed on the table without hesitation. And here's the craziest part. You can see just how desperate King is for his father's approval by the way he constantly flashes guns and leans hard into that street persona. After the arrest footage went viral, fans even speculated King wanted it to happen, that he deliberately walked himself into jail time just to lock in some street cred and finally be seen as a real tough guy. The online comments were ruthless. Some people said King had finally earned that rugged image he'd been chasing for years, while others swore he was just doing it all for attention. Scraps of respect from his dad. And maybe they were right because it looked like King's antics were working. Just think back to when T.I. and Boosie had to check their sons on camera. The patterns were way too clear. King and Boosie's son, Tootie Raw, linked up to shoot a music video. But instead of putting energy into the music, they were too busy flexing guns like they were running a trap house. That's when you could hear the disappointment dripping from T.Y.'s voice. He pressed King hard, asking why he cared more about looking tough than actually enjoying himself when there were women right there. What started as a warning quickly flipped into a full-on lecture. T.I. spelled it out. One wrong move with those guns, one slip into something illegal, and their entire lives could collapse in seconds. Both he and Boosie weren't joking. Their faces showed it. Deadly serious. On the surface, it looked like T.I. was desperately trying to steer King away from the path that ends behind bars. But Tiny wasn't clapping for his so-called Father of the Year moment. She was furious, not because she supported King's reckless flexing, but because she felt T.I. was way too late. In her eyes, King didn't invent this tough guy act. He was just mirroring what he'd already seen his dad glorify for years. And Tiny's frustration only exploded when the next bomb dropped. King's baby mama drama. The final straw came when T.I. casually revealed on a podcast that he was about to become a grandfather again, thanks to King having another child on the way. To Tiny, that announcement didn't sound like concern or discipline. It sounded cold, detached, and careless, almost like he was treating it as just another headline instead of a family crisis. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.